culture of like restaurants and movies. It's basically like a fantastic
that's going to join us for Bleak Hunt 6. Sorry, they have it turned way up on here. Alright guys, so I'm going to bring him out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Come on out! Yeah. Okay, he's a little shy. How about we give him a round of applause?
Order 32, your food is ready at the pickup counter. Order number 32.
Ready to go now! Well, first we're going to do the stream, and then we're going to do the rocket fire. But let's get this show started. Welcome to Bleak Hunt 6. Real quick, just to make sure, we're ready for the show. Are you guys ready for the show? I don't know if something's going on with me today. I don't think I heard you. Are you guys ready for the show? We won't keep you waiting any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to the screen for a special presentation.
I don't want to unplug the long one and have like
Order number 33, your food is ready at the pickup counter. Order number 33.
In a video that will theoretically be somewhere around 4 minutes long, God help us. Alright, where do we start here? On May 17th, 1977, a restaurant called Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater opened in San Jose. Also the co-founder of video game giant Atari. Pizza Time Theater
Order number 27, your food is ready at the pickup counter. Order number 27.
Entertainment in the form of animatronic characters. Yes, while dining on some mediocre pizza, guests would be able to look up on some of their favorite animatronic characters such as Charles Entertainment Cheese and Mr. Munch. But we don't have time to talk about those characters because with the success of this new pizza chain, there were always bound to be competitors. Just 3 years later, in March of 1980, a brand new restaurant chain called Showbiz But this band of animatronic characters was far more advanced than anything Pizza Time Theater had put into its restaurant so far. A band so iconic that conventions would be held in their honor. The Rockafire Explosion. Now, I will be getting into the individual members of the Rockafire Explosion a little bit later today if this video goes over well and I don't get fired. But to put it simply, the Rockafire Explosion consisted of nearly a dozen animatronic characters spread across 3 stages, performing all of today's greatest hits and somehow making them better. The rivalry between Pizza Time Theater and Showbiz Pizza Place gets very complicated over the coming years, but to oversimplify things, both chains get to the point where they're both risking going bankrupt. In fact, Pizza Time Theater did end up declaring bankruptcy in 1984, and these two former rival pizza chains ended up merging in 1985 to form Showbiz Pizza Time Incorporated, a pizza conglomerate, if you will. Business continued as usual for the next 5 years or so, until Showbiz Pizza committed the greatest atrocity against animatronic fans. They removed the Rockafire explosion.
Order number 47, your noodles ready for pickup counter. Order number 47.
But then how are we sitting here today in front of a Rockafire explosion show? Around the time of concept unification, franchisees had the option to drop their franchise agreement with Showbiz Pizza Place and continue on as their own business venture. A risky move, to be sure, but a risk that Billy Bob's Wonderland is willing to take. So they then opened 2 more locations, one in Charleston, West Virginia, and another in Ashland, Kentucky. By 2003, those 2 locations, along with the original Barboursville location, were all consolidated into the building you are sitting in today. Billy Bob's Wonderland has been operating out of this location for 23 years now, and they proudly carry on the legacy of the Rockafire explosion as one of the last remaining public shows in the world. There is so much more history to be told, but those are all stories from today. And look at that, not a minute too soon. Did I do it? Did I get the job? Thank you guys for watching. Not that you have such a business on the screen and you're all trapped in it. But if you did enjoy this, be sure to check out my YouTube channel. I talk a lot more about all these animatronic characters and go into way more depth than just a 3-minute. But if all goes well, I will see you guys in just a little bit with a little more Rockafire explosion history.
I guess we'll do that. Y'all let me know how he does.
Hey, look, exactly. You can't get rid of me that easily. Like I mentioned earlier, the Rockafire Explosion stage show is made up of nearly a dozen unique animatronic characters, and I think each one of those characters deserves their own spotlight, so that is what we are going to do. And I don't think there's any better place to start off than on stage left, which for non-theater people, it's to your right if you're looking at the stage. This will be on the test later. Over on stage left, you'll arrive at Smitty's Super Service Station, a one-stop shop for all your goofy gas-related needs. Here you'll find Showbiz Pizza's very own mascot, Billy Bob Broccoli, who's quite cheekily named. You can find him stuck with his homemade bass guitar and toe-tapping along to some of the Rockafire's greatest hits, perched alongside his right-hand man, or right-hand bird. Moody Bird was the resident alcoholic bird of the
Order number 45, your noodles ready for pickup counter. Order number 35.
goofy gas contained in his voyage. In later years, he would go on to create tons of groundbreaking inventions with the new Rockafire explosion, but again, that is a story for another day. Maybe if they invite me back next year. Both Billy Bob and Looney Bird were and still are voiced by the creator of the Rockafire explosion, Aaron Beckler. And now it is my distinct honor to introduce the bear of the hour and the bird of the century. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Billy Bob Broccoli and his pal, Jimmy. That's just amazing. I'm assuming we just saw a performance, otherwise the organizers of this event have made me look like a complete idiot. Now, we just got done talking about an iconic duo over on stage left, but there is yet another iconic duo all the way over on stage right. Let me introduce you to your favorite comedian's favorite comedian, Rolf the Wolf, and his public sidekick, Rolf the Wolf is actually a wolf. Go figure. And I think the best way to describe him is...
Order number 44, your food is ready at the pickup counter. Order number 44.
Often serving as an interstitial side act to the main Rockafire explosion show, Rolf would try to prove himself as a world-class comedian as well as an up-and-coming lounge singer, both things he was woefully underqualified for. But luckily, his ego never went unchecked because his literal right-hand man, Earl Schmerl, was always there to let him know, Rolf has a distinct honor of being the last animatronics to remove from restaurants after show where they seemingly narrated their own demise, which I'm realizing is probably a little too dark for this joyous occasion. So let's move on. Like Billy Bob and Louie Bird, both Rolf and Earl were and still are voiced by Aaron Fector, which is very amazing because these sort of characters sound nothing alike. And I'm happy to announce that they have just returned back from their short stint in Tahoe, and they are here to perform for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready for Rolf DeWolf and Earl Schumann. What could possibly be behind that center stage crew? Therein lies the reason we're here. The band that has influenced millions. The only animatronic band to have a fan base so rabid that they host a yearly convention in their honor. Yes, on center stage, you will find the Rock-afire Explosion. Duke LaRue, everyone's favorite drumming hound, rocking out on his beloved drum kit while wearing his iconic silver spacesuit. His drums are the backbone and the beating heart of the Rock-afire's music, and his sweet, albeit slow demeanor is one that has captivated fans since day one. Duke LaRue was originally performed by his very own namesake musician Duke Geppetta for many years. The character is now proudly voiced and performed by newcomer Brandon Shepard, and I honestly cannot think of a more worthy person to carry on the legacy of Duke. Now, center stage, you'll find the leading man of the Rock-afire Explosion, the 500-pound gorilla himself, Pat Geronimo. An educated guess, Sue. Pat Geronimo, rocking his iconic golden tuxedo jacket, was best known for his deep bass voice and his proclivity to play music on his mystical, magical tune
Like we were fortunate on him, good that he get it right.
He was famously voiced by the late, great Burt Sal Wilson for over 30 years, and just a couple months ago at the Bolo Auto Museum in Bolo, Illinois, they debuted his new performer, singer, songwriter, and producer, Shooter Jenkins. Shooter brings a fresh new energy to the character of Pat Geronimo and is absolutely a worthy successor of the tremendous legacy that Burt Sal Wilson has left behind. But now it's time to catch a wave because our next band member is none other than Beach Bear. And I think that I can say both metaphorically and physically, Beach Bear really puts the rock in Rock-afire Explosion. Beach Bear can be found shredding on his iconic silver guitar and belting out tunes from a wide range of artists, from Michael Jackson to Beach Bear was and still is voiced by the incomparable Rick Bailey, a multifaceted musician whose talents we are so lucky to still have 40 years ago. And last but certainly not least, we have our resident cheerleader, She is the only character in the Rock-afire Explosion to have a canonical age. To better relate and appeal to the younger audience that showbiz takes place, it was decided very early on that Nifty Mozzarella would take on the age of her voice actress Shalisa James and would age in real time alongside. Shalisa began voicing Nifty at just 11 years old, which means audiences at showbiz take place were able to watch both Shalisa and Mitzi grow up together and reach important life milestones such as getting their driver's permit when they turned 16. Shalisa is still the performer of Mitzi Mozzarella over 40 years later, and it has been such a joy and an honor to have her lend her talents to this iconic mouse. And hot take, I think it's a more iconic mouse than me. And rounded out by side characters such as the sun, the moon, Choo-Choo the Bear, it is a distinct privilege to introduce to you the Rock-afire